Good evening and welcome to Slovenia. We are live at one of the legendary IFSC venues. We're in the Sport Hall here in Kranj for the final of the 2019 Lead World Cup. I'm Charlie Bosco, delighted to say that for the second year running, Vanda Michalkova is alongside me. Vanda, welcome. And Kranj is a special venue. What's this like as a climber to participate in this World Cup?
It's much different to, for example, Chamonix or Briançon. The wall is inside and it looks much older, but it's interesting because it's different to all the other competitions as the profiles are different and they use also different halts here. Every time I see some new creatures in here.
See the climbers being introduced right now. Of course, one of the big story is, I suppose, the climber who isn't here, Janja Garnbret, missing the final for the second time this season. Finished 12th today, 13th, her worst result in the Lead World Cup. She does not make the final in her home event. But 8 climbers did. Meiko Taki's already been introduced. Jessie Pilz has. Mirjis Krampel has. Anna Verhoeven has. Natsumi Hirano has. And now coming out, Cheon Seo. She's won 2 of the 3 Lead World Cups so far this season. She came seemingly from nowhere in July and is now one of the dominant forces in women's lead climbing. Second Slovenian to take part in this evening's final, Lucka Rakovic. She qualified in second place in the semi-finals, looked incredibly strong. Could she bag a first World Cup win? There is Imori getting the big build-up from the DJ and the MC. The music's turned down. Now it cranks up as she makes her way out onto the stage, and she deserves it. She has been extraordinary this year, the woman who seemingly does not get pumped. And Vanda, before we came on air, we talked about Imori. She's just physically seems to be on another level almost to anyone else.
She's surely the youngest finalist here, and she seems to have much more power as anyone else has, so she's just floating through all the moves and makes them look so easy, even though everyone is fighting in them. So I'm excited. I saw her last time crushing really crazily different to all the others in Innsbruck 2 years ago, as she's in my category. So she topped all the routes in their qualifiers, semis and final route, but she never shows many emotions on her face, so she's always calm and she barely smiles, but she does so well.
And another climber we're both looking forward to seeing is Anna Verhoeven.
For sure, Anna she's been injured for quite a long time, but then I met her in Innsbruck training for Tokyo really hard. And she did quite a small but big mistake in Tokyo as she clipped instead of doing a few more moves in the semi-final route, and so she didn't get into the finals. But I think she's in a really, really good shape right now, and she can crush it in here too.
Yeah, absolutely. Anna Verhoeven, who we've not seen in as many events as we would have liked this year. I hesitate to call it an injury. There's an undiagnosed problem that started with the elbow and it's kind of the whole arm now, but it's not really an injury as I understand it.
It's
just
something
it's a
chronic.
Yeah, it's a chronic injury rather than a specific problem, and it's as yet undiagnosed.
As always, ladies first, how did you spice up the course?
From our chief route
the
setter,
first section is not so
Pinhammer.
overhanging, so this means
Talking
a
on
little bit
Slovenian
technical
TV.
for the girls. They will reach
if you guys at home
the
can hear
roof,
this.
the steep part of the route, where we have a kind of 360. You can do different ways, but the 360 will save you some energy for the last part of the route, which splits the field normally.
All the girls are really tight together, so you made it hard for them.
Yeah, this is why we have this time a really splitting area at the top with powerful pinches. So we hope that we will split the field very nice, and of course we hope for one top.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
apologies for talking over Christian for a second there. I wasn't actually sure whether the audio was coming through. It wasn't coming through our headphones until about halfway through, but hopefully you guys at home could hear that. Apologies for talking over it. As I said, it's a very strong lineup. Of course, missing Janja Garnbret, the home crowd would love to have seen her, but they have got 2 Slovenians in the final, Mia Krampel and Lučka Rakovic, and no less than 3 Japanese climbers, even though they've left some of their A graders at home, such as Akio Noguchi, Mihona Naka. They've still got Meiko Taki, Natsumi Hirano, and Ai Mori through. So a vastly successful day, and they're joined by Jessie Pilz of Austria, Anna Verhoeven of Belgium, and Cheon Se of Korea. These arrows, I've not seen this before. I quite like this.
Yeah, I like the live streams lately. They use really different features.
Just to let you know, we are taking our pictures and our graphics from Slovenian TV. Makes the route look quite easy, really. Just follow the arrows. But yeah, that is the way the women will be climbing. They stick to the arête initially, move out right, come back left on the steepest section of the wall, and then they're going up through the big red volumes. It's quite a complex sequence, quite powerful.
I didn't realize they should like climb down a bit.
Yes, it's quite a unique feature. You can see on the bottom left, really, the climbers actually come back down in order to get around that last red volume and then go up the left-hand side of it. It's quite an unusual feature of the wall. And the top hold is a monster. The route setters have created a monster face using a hold and then little screw-ons. You might remember, if you watch the women's semi-final, about the highest point that any of the climbers reached was a smiley face.
Yeah,
the yellow volume with the black
was
screw-ons.
nice.
Yeah, exactly. So they've done the same in the final with a monster face for the last hold. You will see it if somebody gets there. This hold is being highlighted now by our Slovenian director, the one on the bottom of the 3, that blue volume that's on the outside of the red volume. Heading up to that's a bit of a risky move. Not particularly hard, but the climbers will have to commit to it. So that's going to be, we think, the first point where we might see climbers really struggling. We shall see.
There are a few moves that are quite risky. All the other moves seem to be hard but reachable, so you don't have to do any risky moves. But I guess it will be really interesting, and there are many places that can not be expected by the climbers.
Yeah, it's an unusual route, this one. The route setters have got pretty creative. The Kranj wall, because it's so featured, because there are so many angle changes, there are so many inbuilt footholds and things, it means it can get quite creative with the route and do a few things that they couldn't do on maybe a more modern wall where there's just a couple of angle changes. Here there's all sorts to play with, and they've taken full advantage. Same is true for the men's route as well. The men, of course, will be introduced to the crowd, observe and climb after the women are completed. So as you can see from the clock on the wall there, 20 seconds of observation left, and of course the climbers get 40 seconds when they first come out onto the wall for their little individual observation. And there's Janja Garnbret, again, I believe talking to Slovenian TV. I assume she's speaking Slovenian, and therefore we won't tune into that. Apologies to people at home that can speak Slovenian. But there is Janja. It just wasn't her day today, and finished in 13th place. So the climbers have done their 6-minute observation. They will go back into the isolation zone behind the wall and come back out. They'll have 6 minutes to climb. They have 6 minutes to climb. And yeah, Vanda, tell me, the isolation zone here in the Kranj wall, it's quite unusual. It's quite small, it's underground.
I think it was built for much less competitors than there are now. So I can expect, I can imagine 30, 40 climbers warming up in there, but as 100, 150 climbers come in there, it's really tight and you can barely walk in. After 30 minutes of warming up, you think you cannot breathe anymore. But
well, does it get very hot in there, very chalky?
It's really chalky in there. It wasn't that hot this year. Last year it felt much hotter in there. But it's still possible to warm up in there enough for the qualification at least, which is probably the hardest because there are the most climbers. And right now in the finals, I think it might be enough, even though it's so small.
Should be enough for 8. Yeah, we're about 5 minutes away from the start of the finals here in Kranj, and it will be Meiko Taki out first. Let's have a look at back at some of the observation. You can see Meiko Taki on the left there talking to Anna Verhoeven. May speaks very good English, I should say, and comparing notes with Anak Verhoeven. Anak, a former winner here in Kranj, judging by the hat and the jacket. I think that might be Jessie Pilz comparing notes with. Oh, I definitely can't tell from that shot. I think this is quite fun actually, trying to figure out who it is. Is it Mia Krampel on the right?
And Lochka Rakovec on the left.
Yes. Mori doing her own thing down the front. There you can see the venue here in Kranj. It's quite an unusual venue. There's that kind of, it looks like the bridge of a ship, the press room with the windows. It's a great venue. Nice and full as well. I believe, speaking to the organisers, we've got an absolute sellout. There are people on the balcony a couple of metres away from us. Every seat in the house is taken. And this is the route that the climbers will be on today. As I said, there's quite a few moves up this arete, and then the next move to that red volume there with the blue volume screwed on, and the little red screw on inside it. That's a tricky move. And then you launch into the roof. Relatively straightforward sequence, we think. Then after that quick draw, the climbers go down and then come back up to the left. Will they figure that out? And they're up into the real steep section of the wall. Quite a complex set of volumes, and then they're heading up to the monster hole at the top. That's the scene here in Kranj. As I said, hall really filling up with people sitting on the floor in much of the arena. It's absolutely packed, just the way we like to see it. Real climbers town, of course. Triglav Mountains very close by, and you can see the first 4 climbers there, all the way down to Anna Verhoeven, all in the corridor, still comparing notes. It's a small little corridor, the call zone here.
Yeah, the whole area behind the scenes is quite small.
Jessie Pilz currently sitting down, should be second now.
It's crazy they can remember all the moves. Sometimes I come back and I remember all the hard sections, but in between I'm totally lost. I don't remember any move in there.
That's great. Meiko Taki, I don't think, was quite expecting to come out onto the stage. Suddenly was announced to the crowd. Suddenly was announced to the crowd and had to scurry out onto the stage. Irresistibly comical. So here she is, Meiko Taki. Looking forward to seeing her on the lead wall.
I got to know her a bit closer when I was in Arco, because she came for the Rockmasters duels. And she's a really nice person. We swam together in the river and hanged out for an ice cream and so on. It was really nice then.
Yeah, the famous jump off the bridge in Arco.
Yeah.
Don't get that wrong. So 6 minutes begins for Meiko Taki. She's underway. Always interesting when you get the first climber on the wall, you get a first good look at the route.
I think when I looked first at the wall, I said the beginning looks tricky already. And it seems to be Drew. She didn't click the first quick draw yet. She's struggling a bit already.
Yeah, the route setters, just from chatting to them beforehand, don't think this section is super hard. But of course it's easy for them. They're setting with no pressure, no crowd, no music.
Sure.
And suddenly you come out in the World Cup final and it can feel slightly different to how they're expecting. So Meiko Taki reasonably slow for the first few moves, but seems to be finding a little bit of a rhythm now.
I also think every other climber expects the beginning to be easy, because they know that the route setters don't want anyone to fall in the first quick draw, but sometimes it can be challenging too.
Yeah, May now beginning to get a bit of a rhythm on the wall. So she'll head up to the arete, bump up that. We don't have a feed for the clock, just to let you know, but I do have a good view of it, so I will try and keep you up to date as best I can with the clock. Remember, the climbers have got 6 minutes, and in lead climbing, we're measuring which handhold the climbers get to, so the judges have a route map in front of them with all of the handholds numbered, and the score of the climb is simply the handhold they get to. Yeah, you can see May, and a little glimpse of the clock, 4:10 still to go for her.
It's the first risky move.
Yeah, and it looked risky.
But she made it look really easy.
Yeah, you can see she had to be accurate.
You can't wait too long before risky moves because you get more scared of it, and then it's a bigger chance you won't stick it.
Now she's looking at going out right again. Again, no pushover this move. I thought she might get the clip done while she was halfway comfortable.
It's hard because she has no wall farther on to push from.
Oh, it does well to come back, May. Didn't like the look of that hold at all. She's having to get creative here.
I think she can flip.
Yeah, really surprised she's not clipping because this is quite a comfortable position. Perhaps a quick draw feels a little further away than it looks on our screen. Now she'll try and go out right and can't find a way. And we lose Meikatake relatively low on the route, and she looks a little frustrated with that. We'll confirm the score when it comes through. But she didn't look especially happy on a couple of sections of that route. She had 2 or 3 looks at that move, and when she eventually went for it, she just couldn't find a way. This was quite low down.
I think no one really expected that move to be hard. It didn't look hard from the ground.
So it was 20 plus she got Meikatake. This was the move we thought might cause a problem, and as you can see, she only just got the screw on.
I was quite lucky.
Yeah, I think she was slightly lucky there. Here she goes out right, and she was well short of it. So we'll see if climbers read that one differently in the future, but Meikatake for now sits in the winner's chair, of course, with a score of 20 plus. '18 lead world champion Jessie Pilz. This is great being able to see behind the scenes before the climbers come out. It's must be quite a strange feeling about to come out in the lead World Cup final. And here comes Jessie Pilz. No Janja Garnbret in this final, no Jane Kim in this final. No Akio Noguchi here. Big opportunity for Jessie Pilz to pick up a win. She hasn't had one yet this season.
This season wasn't that successful for her as the last year's one, but I think she's really strong and she can make it.
Yeah, absolutely. She had a good bouldering season, but as you say, lead season has not really gone to plan for Jessie, and this is a big opportunity. 6 minutes gets underway.
Even though I think she's more of a lead climber than a boulder.
Yeah, I think like a lot of climbers, she was training 3 disciplines, and yeah, it's just meant her bouldering's come up and maybe her lead climbing dropped off ever so slightly. She certainly looked in really good lead climbing form earlier today.
Yep, for sure.
Powering through these lower moves so far.
I've been training in Innsbruck this August, and almost every day until she left to Tokyo, they were changing the boulders only for her to train for the Tokyo World Championships. So I think she had the chance to get a really good boulder shape.
It's been interesting watching the evolution of Jessie Pilz from pretty much pure lead climber to very, very good boulder as well. You can can see she's definitely got more muscle on her shoulders and her back than she did the past couple of seasons. And that power has been really useful for the bouldering, and as I say, she's starting to look in good lead shape too.
That's maybe not so convenient for lead climbing to have many muscles. It weights a bit more, but she doesn't seem to struggle with it.
No, she's definitely looked pretty close to her best earlier on today. Here she is. Makes it look much easier. Meikataki went to the right hand end of that hold. Jessie Pilz goes out to the left.
May is also much smaller than Jessie is, so she had to jump more. I think this move won't be that hard for Jessie as she's taller. But let's see.
Just under 4 minutes remaining for Jessie Pilz. There we go, out to the right, no problem at all, as you correctly predicted.
This is a beautiful boulder move in the route.
Yeah, you just roll onto your hand. Oh, there we go, can't get much closer to the action. Jessie Pilz now heading up into the even steeper section of the Kranj wall. Commits to the big jump out with the right hand onto the blue volume.
Second race key move in this route.
And that's a potentially awkward clip as well with those long quick draws. Can be quite hard to get hold of, but she cleverly pulled it off her waist and dropped it down, make it a bit easier to clip. Good work from Jessie Pilz so far.
Sometimes a long quick draw can mean bigger problem than the climbing does.
Yeah, quick draw seems to have caused a lot of problems this season. Jessie Pilz climbing really, really well here. As we said, July in the 3 World Cups in the Alps, Villars, Chamonix, Briançon just didn't quite go to plan for Jessie. Didn't continue her 2018 form, but here in Kranj she looks on top form again, and the crowd responding now to this push out to the left. This is the section where she'll go a little bit further to the left and then drop down slightly.
She seems to be a bit pumped already.
Yeah, I think the
she didn't seem to be 3 moves ago.
There we go, now she drops her feet down. That's what the route setters were wanting to see. And now climbs down. As I say, that's really unusual. It's not often you see that.
But I think they like this move here in Kranj, exactly on this place. I think something similar was here last year in the men's route.
Yes. Jessie's been clever there as well. She's got a knee bar. Got herself wedged in. As you said, just when she started to look a little bit pumped, she's managed to get herself in quite a comfortable position.
She's got 1 minute 30 left, so she should maybe start climbing a bit faster.
Yeah, I wonder if she was even more pumped than we realised. Choosing to rest for quite a long time. But as you say, she probably needs to keep an eye on the clock. I think she's on her way now. Crowd responding to every move here. Oh, slaps to the top of the volume. I'm not sure that was the way to do it. And Jessie falls, just exiting the steep section of the wall with a minute left on the clock. She's comfortably ahead of Meikataki. 6 climbers still to go. There is May. All Jessie can do is watch now. But that looked like a really good effort. And Jessie Pilz climbing really smoothly.
She did. I think she didn't understand quite well the section. I think route setters didn't want her to take the volume. When we'll see it, I guess she should have gone from the big underclean right hand up to the crimp on the volume where she had her left hand, and then go left further to the blue moon or whatever is it.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how climbers read that. This was Jessie, so she went over to the left of the scrum. There we go.
She kept her left foot on the wall, which made it look easier. like these detailed looks on the holds.
Yeah, it's really good, isn't it? You get a good idea of what the climbers are going for. This was a bit higher up. This was when you could see the elbows are out. She started to look increasingly pumped. Things looked like they were going slightly wrong there, and she managed to rescue it and get herself down. But as it was, she only got a few more moves. Score of 34 for Jessie. And there appears to be a fox applauding.
Olympic fox.
Olympic fox, yeah. Okay. Amazing what you see at IFSC World Cups. Mia Krampel, the first Slovenian out in the final, the second of two, first of two, excuse me. Mia Krampel out onto the wall. 40 seconds to look at the route, then 6 minutes to try and climb it. 34.5 to beat Jessie Pilz's score, upgraded to 34.5. I mentioned earlier the judges have a route map. All the handholds are labelled, but if climbers use something that the route setters didn't say is a handhold, that becomes hold, in this case 34.5. So that's a handhold between handhold 34 and 35 that the route setters weren't expecting anyone to use, but got used. So Jessie Pilz, 34.5 she's been awarded.
It's funny, sometimes it happens as to me and Emily Phillips and Arca. We got 0.3
and 0.6.
and 0.6.
Yeah, that's when it's getting really complicated.
Yeah, we probably grabbed too many footholds.
Yeah. Yeah, Krampel putting her hip flexibility to good use, just levers up using the heel. Climbing pretty quickly, pretty confidently, choosing to take a little pause here just to chalk up.
But I guess the route setter's intention to make the beginning a bit easier than the semi-final worked out, because the semi-final beginning of the route looked so hard. We were struggling. I saw Laura Ragara in there, and she seemed to almost fall at the second quick draw.
There goes Mia. Looked like there was a mini hesitation there. Oh, and she could have been in real trouble. She did well to hold on there.
That looked hard.
That can be really difficult as well, because suddenly your heart rate increases, you feel a little bit more stress, and she's got to just compose herself and try to relax, because up until then she was climbing really nicely.
Yeah, always when something like this happens to you in a competition, you put so much energy into that.
And she falls on the 20 plus move, the same as Meiko Taki. I think Mia Krampel might be slightly annoyed, because if her feet hadn't come off,
I think so. She can be really happy to stick the move, because like half fixing one hand hang on a crimp, as we can see now on the video. She slapped the second time.
Oh, that was incredible to have held it. So Mia Krampel, 20 plus.
But I think this really pulled her out of her flow, and she didn't have any power left for the next move.
Yeah, even when you watch the replay, you can't believe she stayed on.
Mia is super strong. She would fix that move for sure normally.
And that's a real shame for Mia Krampel. Had a fantastic season so far. Podiums in World Cups and in the World Championships in Hachioji. Here in front of the home crowd, she couldn't quite find a way there. The feet cut loose. And what was looking like quite a promising attempt sadly ended prematurely.
It might be also much bigger stress when you're climbing in front of the home crowd, everyone wanting you to win.
Anna Grohoven, 2016 Kranj winner. makes her way out onto the wall. Narrowly missed the final in the World Championships in August. She's back in World Cup action here in Slovenia. And I think taking every bit of her individual observation time, just reminding herself of a few little details, gives the shoes a clean, and we'll get underway any second. You can see the watch there on the back left of her harness, which is about to start. Here she goes. As I say, timed out in the World Championship semi-final. It cost her a place in the final. But she seems to climb well here in Kranj. I think Anak might be feeling quietly confident despite the issues she's having with this ongoing arm and elbow problem.
Her performance in semis was really different to everyone else. She really used her flexibility and showed her best, not pulling the moves so powerfully, but making it look easier by using technique. I think she's one of those who climb a lot on rocks, so she has this rock technique that helps her in many moves to make them easier, because she can see a bit more of the hold structures and features you can put in there.
Feels like she's climbing quite quickly for her standards, Anak. Trying to get moving. So she's bumping up the arete. The big move up to the volume coming up now. No problem for Anak. It looked spectacular, but the right hand was so accurate that she was able to cut loose and it didn't look too risky. Really hit the sweet spot of that hold with the right hand.
Footholds seem to be really slivery, as Anak slapped there too. Just a tiny bit, but still.
Yeah, I was chatting to Christian Binthammer, who's our chief route setter and of course a legend of the climbing world, earlier on, as Anak safely gets out right and the crowd respond. And he was saying that move, it's not that hard, but there is a little bit of risk. You've got to really commit and you've got to keep your feet on, you've got to keep the body tension all the way. And we've already seen Meikataki pulled it off and Mia Krampel did as well, but both had difficulty keeping their feet on. Anak, no problem at all.
It's true that Anak and Jessie are both of the higher climbers, taller ones, maybe.
Again, committing out. Oh, and she stopped that swing. It was like she hit a wall.
She sticked it so safely.
So much tension in her body. It was amazing. Now she could, if she moved the hand, there might be a knee bar there. I don't think she's going to use it.
Ah, she's using it, I guess.
Kind of, I guess. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she is using it. Creative climbing from Anak.
That's the rock climbing technique you get.
Yeah, exactly. Finding a rest.
Everywhere.
Anna Verhoeven climbing at a good speed as well. 2:20 left on the clock. Her natural cadence is a little bit slower than some of the climbers, but she's climbing quicker today. Just seeking out the footholds.
Oh,
Again,
nice.
Yeah, again, using her flexibility well. This is really neat stuff from Anna Verhoeven. And the crowd are applauding as well. They're appreciating, they're seeing a really strong performance here from Anak. And you can see she's choosing not to rest. She wants to get moving again.
She didn't find the rest well in there. She used the foothold instead of the wall. Jessie was standing on the wall, pushing her knee into the hole.
Now then, what will Anak do here? This is where we lost Jessie Pilz. She's tried to slap the top of the red volume that's immediately above where Anak's got both her hands. Anak's had a look out left, she's had a look straight up, and in fact decides to go back down and have a bit of a rest. Changes thing up, goes with the right hand, doesn't seem to like that method. She's really aware of the time, you get the impression, Anak. She has got 56 seconds left. I think she's going to commit out with the left hand. Here she goes, oh, and just comes up short. And her instant reaction is frustration. Anak will be annoyed because I think she feels like she had something left there. She was climbing a little bit quicker than we have seen from her. And she went out to the left.
She climbed up, down, tried different solutions, but she didn't really find the right one, I guess. But right now, I'm not sure about the right one because I thought it's possible to do it with the right hand, sticking the bat crimp from the left side of the red volume, but it didn't seem to be the right beta as she got back from there. Quite frustrated about the crimp.
Let's have a look at then. Now then.
I think maybe putting up a heel from the bat pocket onto the right small screw on the red volume might help.
So Anak Verhoeven goes into second place, 34 plus for her. Jessie Pilz 34.5. It's certainly getting tighter out there. Yeah, I think the heel hook, from what I could get from the route setters, is a possible solution. I think you're right, but it looks a long way to that blue hold. The obvious way it looks to be to go left, but it looks a long way.
I think you should not go left first. I think you should grab the do or whatever free finger pocket, put your right heel on the small screw on the right lapis volume, and then go farther up right with your right hand to a small crimp, which we cannot see from here, and then just get the left big blue hold.
Next climber out will be Natsumi Hirano of Japan. This is a replay, by the way. That is Mei Kotaki being told, get climbing. So this is where we lost Mei. Just well short on that move. Next up was Jessie Pilz, who currently leads the way. Climbed confidently, but again, just couldn't quite figure out how to exit the section at the left-hand end of the roof. See the men's black and white route out on the right of the wall. That was where we lost Jessie. Tried to match on the top of that red volume. Next up was Mia Krampel. Seemed to be going well until, not this moment, but this one, where the feet cut loose unexpectedly and understandably really threw her off her rhythm. Didn't look like she really wanted to commit to that move. The fourth climber out was Anak Verhoeven, who was climbing really well, but again just couldn't quite figure out how to exit that section. This was an amazing moment. Bosh! And this is where we lost her. She went up and down a couple of times trying to figure out where to go. Tried to take the big move out left to the blue banana-shaped volume. Frustratingly, couldn't quite make it stick. So as it is, she's in second place. 4 climbers still to come. Natsumi Hirano, Chern Serb, Lucka Rakovic and I Mori. Charlie Bosco and Michael Kova sitting here in the commentary box with a wonderful view of the Kranj wall. And there are the next 2 climbers. So Lucka Rakovic and I Mori, presumably still out the back, trying to stay warm. Natsumi Hirano, I think, just being told to wait a little bit longer, doesn't want to take her jacket off until the last second.
Her endurance is also really crazy. She can stay on the wall forever. I'm excited how she will do because she's also one of the smaller climbers. So it might be hard for her already in the beginning.
Natsumi Hirano, she's only been in one World Cup final before tonight, and it was right here in Kranj last year. She was 6th on that occasion. What can she do tonight? Like we see from Jane Kim, comes out in the sandals to keep the shoes clean until the last possible second. Clock begins ticking away down to 6 minutes.
She's the World Youth A Vice Champion right now.
Yeah, she went well in Arco back in August. Climbed very quickly and confidently through the lower section.
She seems to fit into the boots really well.
Yeah, it's a good description. Again, out to the erect, and then you just got these couple of moves, bump up the erect, bump, 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 and then quite a committing move. For some reason, yeah, it doesn't quite like the look of it.
Might be longer for her.
Jessie Phelps looking on. As it stands, she is leading the way. It doesn't like the look of this move out to the black trim. This was slightly surprising. She was really smooth through the first few moves, bumped up quickly.
I think it's one of the riskier moves for her. She's not tall enough to reach it from the lower foothold. She has to put her right foot up. The cream doesn't seem to be really good. Yeah, she doesn't like it.
Natsumi Hirano is slowing on a move that hasn't really caused any problems yet. This is quite surprising. She looks so confident for the first 5 meters or so. Now goes out left. Chooses to initially use the knee.
She solved the move.
She did solve the move, but she's burned an awful lot of time. She's only got 3.5 minutes left now. Goes for the jump.
She didn't hesitate. She just got it.
That was a good camera shot as well. You can see she was so accurate, really had the biggest part of the hole.
Let's see if she can reach this one.
And a bit like me, a cramp on the feet got loose. Oh, and she goes out for that 20-plus move and can't stick it.
That means a podium for Jessie Phelps.
Not necessarily, because we've got 3 climbers still to go.
Ah, sorry.
But probably she's got a good chance of a podium.
Wait.
We've still got Cheon, Luchka and I to go.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't count well.
Sorry, I'm holding the start list. Let's have another look at the jump. Yeah, she latched that hold. Absolutely got it perfect, but a bit like Mia, just as we were zooming in, I think her feet cut loose and she wasn't expecting it.
She was. She just chose another foothold, something on the wall, but it didn't work as she wanted.
Kotaki comparing notes.
This wasn't the move Ruteners wanted these girls to fall off.
There's Cheon Suk, winner of 2 of the 3 lead World Cups so far this season. Cheon-soo out onto the wall in Kranj. Could she make it 3 from 4? She's only entered 3 World Cups. She's won 2 of them. She has been, without question, the sensation of the 2019 Lead World Cups.
She's the World Cup leader right now.
And that lead is only going to extend with Janja Garnbret not make it through to the final this evening.
Second time this season, which was really unexpected after winning all of the Boulder World Cups.
Be careful not to touch that side at the start of the churn, so she was a millimetre away from it.
Science and bolts are being quite big lately.
Oh, don't mention bolts. So Cheon has only ever been beaten in a World Cup by Janja Garnbret. Janja's not climbing this evening. Is the door open for Cheon-soo? Can Jessie Pilz get back on the top step of the podium? There is Jessie and Anna Verhoeven on the right. Confidently up with the right hand. It was strange how Natsumi Hirano didn't really like the look of that hold. Here she goes for the jump. It's barely a jump for Cheon.
Cheon doesn't seem to be, but she's one of the taller climbers in here.
Yeah. Oh, a really powerful way of doing that move, but it worked. Problem is, she's got to get the clip done. Oh, she might have got herself in a bit of trouble here, Cheon-soo. Oh, solves it nicely.
It's a nice resting position. Using a bit different muscles. Another tricky move.
Again, committing, no problem. Cheon-soo looking really strong here. 3:35 still left on the clock as well. Doesn't feel like she's climbed that quickly, but she hasn't really stopped. Here she goes, heading out left. She's got a few more moves to do before she draws level with Jessie or Anak. Remember with Cheon, if she could find herself in first place, she would at least be guaranteed a podium with only 2 climbers still to come.
She seems to be much more comfortable on these crimps than Jessie seemed to be.
I think that's a deceptively powerful move as well, dropping onto that blue crimp. She seems to have no problem with it.
There isn't much space to match it.
That's for sure. Oh, and that was only just from Cheon-soo.
That was a risky try.
Yeah, now finds a knee bar, I think, and says to herself, okay, calm it down. Jessie Pilz watching on, not that she can do any more. 34.5 currently leading the way. I don't think Cheon's going to slap for the top of the volume. This is exactly what we saw from Jessie. And she goes out left, and I think will be awarded a 34 plus as well.
I think it will be 34.5 plus.
Let's see how the judges view this one. I'm just thinking Jessie matched on the top of the volume.
But she didn't do a plus, did she?
No, that's true. Okay, let's see. If I speculate, I'm speculating. Maybe when Jessie put one hand, that's 34. When she put the other, that's 34.5.
I don't think they're rating one hold 2 points or like one hold. We'll see.
Yeah. Glad we don't have to judge it anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah.
this was Chelmsford. This is where we lost it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. 34.5 plus.
She seemed to be the closest to
Yes.
grab.
Yeah.
From grabbing the left crimp. The left crimp is probably absolutely not good, as everyone cannot grab it really comfortably.
You're in the wrong business. You should be judging. You got that one absolutely spot on.
I hope I can climb.
Yeah, of course. First choice is to be climbing in the final. Lucka Rakovic now, second of two Slovenians. The last home climber who's going to appear tonight. None of their men made it through to the final. Lucka with a lot of pressure on her shoulders, but a big opportunity as well. She went so well in the semi-final. Set a high point that stood for quite some time. Looks to be in really good lead shape right now. Didn't take her full 40 seconds, just chose to get on with things.
It's more stressful to stand under the wall and watch the climb than climbing it directly, I guess.
What's your take on climbing first? Climbing early in the final, climbing late in the final?
I think somewhere in the middle is the best thing, but if I should choose if I'll climb first or last, I would choose first, because it's not that much stress. When you're behind the wall, you can hear every single sound, so you kind of know how the others climb, and it's making you just more stressed out, which is not good before climbing your round. So I guess first is the least stressful, and you also know how much time do you have to warm up.
That's very true, yeah. You know when you're going to climb. Anyway, Lucka Rakovic, the penultimate climber out. Now lining up the jump. There we go, just uses the final section of the arête. Didn't quite, I think, hit the perfect spot of the screw on. You could see her make a small adjustment, but she got enough of it. Took quite a big swing, but always looked in control. No problem with that 20-plus move. Crowd react. Lucka must realise a few climbers have fallen there just from the crowd reaction. And again, holds the swing, no problem. Climbing really fluidly and really fast here, Lucka Rakovic.
Seems to be totally comfortable.
Pretty much horizontally. You see her right leg quivering ever so slightly, just gives you an idea of how much effort is going in. It is not as effortless as Lucka Rakovic is making it look right now. Crowd getting right behind Lucka Rakovic. There's a lot of noise here in Kranj right now. Just caught a glimpse there of Mia Krampel, nervous on Lucka's behalf, nervously excited, I suspect, because Lucka seems to be going really well here.
She took a good rest before this crimpy section.
Looking pretty comfortable still, Lucka, and she's got plenty of time on the clock. 2.5 minutes still to go, and she's on the section where we've lost the three climbers who currently occupy the podium spots. That was an incredibly powerful way of doing that move, but she made it work. Now is she going to rest?
Over her leg.
Crowd really getting behind her, but she can't let herself get distracted here, Lucka. She needs to think clearly. suddenly looking pumped. This is absolutely massive for the outcome of this competition. Goes up with the right hand for the small blue crimp and cannot make it work. Let's see how the judges scored it. They've got more work to do.
I think it's 34 plus again. It's unacverhavende, but we'll see.
Yeah, they're definitely having a difficult time today, the judges. Let's have a look at some of the highlights. Yeah, 34 plus, that moves her up into third place with only one climber to go. That means that Jessie Piltz will be on the podium, Cheon Seo will be on the podium. Lučka Rakovic might be on the podium. So a different method again.
Everyone read it almost the same, so all of the climbers tried to go right hand into small crimp on the left part of the volume. And I think root sitters taught the same way, but the crimp is too small to grab it. So everyone's trying to figure out a new better right on the place.
The game face is on. Here comes Mori. No acknowledgement of the crowd. No emotion shown whatsoever. Looks like she just wants to get on the wall. Mori. Incredible lead climber. Endurance for days, it would seem. Here she goes in Kranj. If she can find a way out of those volumes, she will be away.
I would like to know if she gets stressed out.
You certainly wouldn't know from looking at her. We saw an amazing performance from her in the World Championships where she made a mistake and then recovered. She's done exactly the same here in Kranj. She's made a mistake, can she recover? Yeah, in Hachioji, she got in all sorts of trouble and then just kept on going. She's got scarcely believable endurance. She might need it after that little mistake there. I don't think it will have cost her too much energy, but it just makes you a little bit more nervous.
Sticking that move, that had to cost her a lot of energy, but she doesn't seem to be somehow squeezed out of it, but still. It's only the beginning of the route.
So she's actually used up 1.5 minutes already, Mori. So needs to keep quite a close eye on the clock. Actually just got a hand on the rope. Needs to free it. There we go. So she'll bump up the erect again. And you got the jump.
She didn't use the right crimp at all. Now.
Lining up the jump and making it work. It wasn't actually a great angle to see it from, but I'm pretty sure she really got the hold exactly how you're supposed to get it. She goes on the big move out right. She's going to have to commit. Oh, we lose Mori as she goes out to the right. That means Cheon Seo will win her 3rd World Cup of the season. She's won 3 of the 4 World Cups she's entered, and she was 2nd in the other one.
Jessica is back on the podium, and Lučka Rakovic made her first podium, I guess.
Yes. Lučka Rakovic takes 3rd. Anna Verhoeven just misses out. It was only on count back to the semi-final. That was where Mori lost a bit of energy, you suspect. She recovered, but could not find a way out to the right. Let's have another look at some of Mori's climb. Yeah, the feet cut loose, and I think that threw her. She didn't really have her right foot on anything.
She used the wall feature, but wasn't enough to push enough into the foothold. And she also didn't get the right crimp right.
The fox. What is that fox all about? Anyway.
Olympic fox.
Olympic
Came
fox,
to
isn't it?
support the new sport.
So we're going to have a live interview with Cheon-seo. There is confirmation, doesn't get much tighter than that. 34.5 plus wins you the competition, 34 plus for Anna Verhoeven, doesn't even get you on the podium, so it all got very tight around the left-hand end of those volumes. Route setters, I think, might be slightly frustrated that nobody found a way off them.
Said we can see more of the route.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see the top section. I think there was some quite interesting moves above there. But as it is, 34.5 plus means that Cheon-seo wins her third World Cup. And as I say, she's only entered 4. Jessie Pilz nearly back on the top step of the podium, but given that July did not go according to plan, I think she'll be pretty happy with the silver medal. 2 World Cups, of course, still to come in China and Japan, which Karakovic ends up in 3rd place. Anna Verhoeven 4th, Ai Mori in 5th, Natsumi Hirano in 6th, and then Mia Krampel and Mei Kataki in 7th and 8th, respectively. As I say, we are expecting to hear from Cheon once I think the podium climbers will be presented to the crowd. There's Lushka Rakovic, 3rd place for her, fantastic result. I think she'll be pretty happy with that one. Picks up a World Cup medal.
It's great how she stepped up from last year, beginning of the last year.
Jessie Pilz in 2nd, Cheon-seo in 1st. She is a sensation in 2019. Quite amazing. There we go, they get the choreography right now. At least Cheon knows where to stand right in the middle.
Quite easy.
So, I mean, that's now 380 ranking points, 3 first places and a 2nd in their first 4 World Cups. It is a breathtaking season from Cheon-seo. Surely is going to claim the lead overall title in her very first season of competition. And the rope being put up now in preparation for men's observation. And you can see the interview backdrop down there on the bottom right of the screen. Hopefully we'll be given some advance warning when Cheon is in front of the camera. We can see the lights are on. So we're not entirely sure actually what language the interview will be done. We believe it's English first. Eddie, the trusty IFSC photographer, down the front. He's on interviewing duty tonight.
Cheon-seo, winner of Kranj 2019. How does it feel to be having such a fantastic season?
I really didn't think about it because my condition was the best, so I'm so confused, but it's really honored.
You must be incredibly pleased to be having the season you are having now. Thanks for a great show. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that was Cheon-seo. Hard to believe what a season she's having, really.
It's crazy, she just came and suddenly she's so good. No one really expected someone to come from almost nowhere and beat Janja so easily.
And there was nothing really in her results to suggest that this was going to happen. I mean, she had a good youth career, but nothing to suggest what was going to happen.
I have never seen her before this year's World Cups.
Yeah.
I've heard she's been better in a few of the Korean competitions, better than Jane Kim, which says she's really strong because Jane was one of the best climbers ever in the World Cups. And now she's crushing it further.
Yeah, she is. James, first place for her ahead of Jessica Pilson, second place, Luchka Rakovic in third. Anna Verhoeven fourth, Ai Mori fifth, Natsumi Hirano sixth. Mia Krampel 7th and Meika Takin 8th. You can see the ties there. They were separated on count back to previous rounds of the competition. Of course, we had the qualifiers yesterday and semi-finals very early this morning at 8 a.m. I think the earliest semi-final I've ever been to. So that is how the ties were separated. That's the situation here in Kranj. You can see the men's route being prepared. I suspect the route setters might be a little bit frustrated.
A little bit disappointed. I think they expected at least one top, as Seo is so strong lately, and there were 3 Japanese who are really, really strong. So I guess they expected the girls to do more, but the move they struggled in was really long, and the crimps didn't look good. So I think maybe someone too tall was doing the route, so they didn't expect the girls not to reach it.
Just if we're explaining the route setting process to people at home, what would you say is the difference between setting for men and setting for women?
I think setting for women is much more technical, so they try to find their features to show the technique of the women as they have it. And in the men's route, it's more about powerful moves. They want to see them jump a lot, do many pull-ups, and hold the smallest crimp ever. So men's routes are being much more physical than the women ones. And overall, I guess the beginning is always so tricky to make you a bit scared of the route. Then it's a bit just bumpy to make you a bit more pumped. And in the end, they try to make the selection of the routes, so they try to put there. It's most of the time the slabby part where they want you to boulder a bit and some tricky moves. Sadly, we didn't see anyone fighting in the tricky moves at the end today.
Well, it's a shame, and it feels like the route setters they've got to put some risky moves in, or nobody falls off. And maybe today they were just a little bit too tricky. I mean, we lost 4 climbers on 20 plus, and the other 4 kind of around the same part as well. It's a really tough judgment, isn't it? Because if those moves are too easy, it doesn't do the job of tiring the climbers out.
And from lower down, it didn't seem to be so hard, the moves they fell on. I thought the problem will be somewhere else, as the girls in 20 plus fell. So sometimes you just cannot predict it.
Yeah, it's really difficult, and of course we had an all-male route setting team this time. As a female climber, is route setting something that interests you? I mean, is there opportunities for someone like yourself to get involved in route setting? Because we want to see more female route setters at the IFSC.
I think it's interesting, but it's a really hard work, as I see all the route setters running around and carrying around all the big holes and putting them on the wall, off the wall, and so. But the job they're doing, it's really interesting. Thinking of the moves, creating new ones every time. It has to be really creative job. So I think it's attractive, but not many women are involved because it might be really physically hard.
It is a brutally tough job, and this was the route they set, and this was Cheon's climbing it. Have another look at some of the highlights. She was really clever here. It looked quite a powerful way of doing that move, but perhaps if you've got enough power, less risky. And that was where we lost her. Have plenty of time remaining, slightly frustrating.
I think no one of the climbers was like really pumped.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah,
it fell off.
Jessie was looking a little bit tired, but I think had a few more moves left. And Luchka, it was strange with Luchka. She climbed really smoothly, and then she got to that section and just suddenly the movement seemed to get much faster, almost a slight panic.
Probably sometimes you just don't expect the crimps to be so bad. So you come there and every moves make you just pushes you down as you're not expecting it.
And that's the scene here in Kranj. We're about to start the presentation for the men's competition. We've got a substitution in the commentary box. I will resume in just a second as we begin the presentation. Sean McCall of Canada has been introduced to the crowd. Hasn't yet emerged onto the stage. Where is Sean McCall? We'll do our substitution now. Vanda, for the second year running, absolute pleasure to have you in the commentary box. Some really good insights, and thank you for your time. Now you can relax and go and enjoy the rest of the competition. Thank you very much.
I'm happy to sit here with you and co-commentate. It's much more interesting than watching all the time.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of the comp.
Thank you for this opportunity.
So we had a slight choreography this year that I do not remember ever seeing that before. A climb was introduced by the venue MC and just didn't appear. I think, as I say, a slight choreography issue. Hopefully Sean McCall has been located somewhere in the arena. And the substitution in the commentary box completed. Now the presentation gets underway. Sean McCall, there he is, finally been located. Hamish McArthur's just joined me. We will chat in just 1 second. We've had the climbers introduced to us. There is Hamish. Hamish, welcome. Interesting women's final, bit of a tough one for the route setters.
Yeah.
A couple of moves just didn't quite work out.
Yeah, it was difficult. There's only a few moves that the climbers really struggled on, it seems. Everything else they kind of cruised. So it's, yeah, 2 stopper moves really, which is a bit of a shame.
Here's Kokora Fuji. We'll chat more in just a second. Choreography proving problematic here in Slovenia. Kokora Fuji's out. Alberto Hines Lopez is out on the stage. Martin Stranik will be next out, the first of 2 Czech climbers taking part this evening. Here's Martin Stranik, looked really strong in the semi-final, actually set a high point and held on to it for a while, ended up getting bumped down the order, but still more than enough to make it through to the final this evening. Here's the winner from 2018 in Kranj, Stefano Gasolfi. Lead season has not gone according to plan for him this year. What has the last 6 weeks or so delivered while he's been training since getting back from Hachioji? Is he in the kind of shape he needs to be in to win this World Cup? We will soon find out. Kai Harada now, 2018 Boulder World Champion, looked immensely strong in the semi-finals earlier on today in Kranj. Out next will be a man that knows this Kranj wall pretty well. Climbing out of Austria, Jakob Schubert picked up 3 World Championship medals back in August in Hachioji. Always seems to find a way to peak when it really matters. And to Jakob, who's been climbing here for over a decade, Kranj really matters. And already looking up at the route, because we just caught a glimpse of him, is the last climber out, the reigning lead world champion from Czech Republic, Adam Ondra. I think he feels in really good shape right now, Adam. Spoke to him after the semi-final, was really happy, said he still felt like he had a little bit more to give, and I think he'll be feeling pretty confident. Hamish, that's a proper welcome. We were all a bit rushed there. We had the presentation started, then it stopped, then it started again. But welcome, thank you for your time. And as I say, a bit of a tricky one for the route setters on the women's competition.
Yeah, it definitely seemed difficult. It's always hard to split as such a strong field, but when it just comes down to one or two moves, it's often not what the climbers or the crowd wants.
6 minutes, of course, for the climbers to observe the route. Not much communication between them right now. Everyone pretty much doing their own thing. They're all a pretty experienced bunch. Alberto Hines Lopez, the least experienced of all, but had a great performance earlier on this year in
Christian, it
Chamonix
should
when he
be
made
a
the
little
final.
more
And once
attractive
again, we
in the
can hear
men's
from,
part of the
Christian
competition today.
Bindhammer, I believe.
Yeah, we will have in the first section a little jump. It will be not a really hard jump, but it's a quite spectacular element. Then it will go to the more overhanging part. This means more the pressure part. We will reach a part which have small crimps before we enter the egg section. I will call it the egg plate with 4 eggs in a row. This is in the very steep part of the wall, in the most overhanging part. So we hope that we will get some more power out of the climbers. So at least in the last part of the wall, maybe like 2-3 climbers will arrive there, and then we have some kind of movements on really small crimps on volumes. So we think this could be also splitting the field enough to have at least one top there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
There you have it. Always good to hear from Christian Bindhammer. I had quite a long chat with him actually before the broadcast got underway, talking about this men's route. Really very aesthetic route with the black and white volumes. Looks like it'll be quite technical, but he said it's not as technical as it looks, basically. The high friction bits are all where you want them, and the low friction bits don't matter too much. We're not expecting the lower section to cause too many problems, but it certainly looks tricky from the ground. Hopefully the climbers will figure out the moves.
I also think a really difficult part about a technical start is the isolation section has basically 0 slab or vertical wall, so it's really hard to warm up for something like this.
Yeah, here are the arrows which Slovenian TV are providing us with. Possibly climbing at a slightly quicker pace than we might see this evening, but we'll see. So you can see the climbers who push out to the left, and we heard Christian Bindhammer mentioning the egg section. Here it is. Brilliant section. I really hope we see some climbers on this. It looks, he said there's a few different solutions. It looks like there could be pretty much infinite number of solutions. Yeah, it could be a really interesting section. Again, the hole's a dual texture. White bit useless, black bit high friction. And sadly, we do not have the Slovenian director in our ear telling us exactly what they're highlighting. I think it could be the lack of footholds for the lower circle. And not sure what the other two are. There we go. Is that showing us a lack of footholds?
Either that or a feature in the wall that could be used as a foothold.
Yeah, it's maybe that micro red feature.
Yeah.
Let's say apologies. We're taking our pictures from Slovenian TV, and we do not have the director telling us what we're looking at. So we're guessing what he might be highlighting. Yeah, I think it's that micro foothold, as you rightly say. Those dual texture volumes there, and again that hold on the left-hand end. Interesting. I don't think there's apart from the jump up to the, is it a hexagon with 6 sides?
I think so, yeah.
Hexagon. I always get it wrong.
Not part of your job description, I suppose.
Well, it probably should be, yeah. I think it's a hexagon. The hexagon formed by those black volumes, that's about the only kind of jumpy move we think on the route. There's certainly some quite big committing dynamic moves up above, but that's the only kind of jump of the kind that we saw at about the same height as the wall for the women's route.
Yeah, this was like a lot more dynamic than that. Like in the women's, you saw some climbers able to keep their feet on. This, I can't imagine there'll be many static or close to static attempts. And if you miss it, you'll be through the curtain with a swing like that.
That's true, actually. There's potential for a quite spectacular swing through the curtain, as you rightly say. Is that so? Jakob and Kokoro comparing notes. Stefano firmly doing his own thing, and I think I saw the 2 Czech climbers Martin and Adam, I suppose somewhat inevitably, they're good friends and share a first language comparing notes. Sean McColl, again, also doing his own thing, and Alberto Hines Lopez, I can see down the front of the stage, he's just kind of wandering around quietly. He's a very confident guy. He's been impressive this year, hasn't he? And he went well in Arco as well.
Yeah, he's such an impressive competitor, and I think it's brilliant for me being in the same youth category as him as well, and so many other strong kids in our category just pushing each other, and it shows that there isn't as much of a gap between seniors and juniors as I once believed.
Yeah, it must be great for you because, I mean, all right, come on, let's mention it. Podium in the Youth World Championships.
Yeah, podium in the Youth World Championships in bouldering as well. I didn't really see that coming. I never thought of myself as a boulderer, but
amazing result. But it's a good point you make, because it must, when you're climbing alongside these people and beating them in some cases, it must make you realise that, hey, this guy's made a World Cup final.
Exactly.
I'm beating him.
Exactly, yeah. It's great to have that point of comparison and to see a clear path to greater achievements in seniors as well.
And how did you enjoy climbing here in Kranj? It's quite an old school competition. It's one of the famous ones. It must be great to actually climb in it.
Yeah, I love it here so much. It's a lot simpler style, it seems, in qualification compared to some World Cups. It's just very basic and very, very pumpy, which I'm a fan of.
That's Alberto getting what you'd imagine is some quite handy information from that tall chap with the curly hair.
Yeah, might be slightly different beat that they'll have to use though, considering height difference.
Yeah, there is quite a height discrepancy. That was an interesting observation period actually. Climbers didn't seem to be chatting that much. A lot of doing their own thing.
Yeah, it's a bit strange. You often see massive groups, especially in semi-finals. They split off into groups of nationality or first language, but here, as you say, it seems to be very separate.
Personally, do you like to kind of share information, or would you rather just disappear into your own little world during the observation and figure it out for yourself?
I much prefer sharing usually, because my beater isn't always the best. I haven't had too much experience at senior World Cups with these holds and different styles of movement compared to what I'm used to, so it's always good to have insight from someone who's a bit more knowledgeable on hold types and clipping position and stuff.
Is that one of the things you really notice coming to World Cups, that there are a lot of holds you haven't seen before?
Yeah, it's a big thing for climbers from all over the world. They'll come to a World Cup and there'll be a new type of hold out or a type of hold they haven't had much time to train on. So it's just so hard to read the route, like the clipping positions. You don't know if it's going to be better from this part of the hold or the next hold up. There's a lot more information you have to process in that 6 minutes.
There's a man with a fair bit of experience, Sean McColl. I forgot to ask him what his World Cup count is. He hit 100, I think it was 3 seasons ago.
Wow.
So he must be, by my calculations, must be getting pretty close to 150 World Cups for him. 1/2 of them as well, and he'll be out first today. He'll be followed out by Kokoro Fuji, then Alberto Hines Lopez, Martin Stranik, Stefano Gasolfi, Kai Harada, Jakob Schubert and Adam Ondra. What a lineup. And yeah, it seems like a really good combination of legends and young guns like Alberto with something to prove.
Alberto and Kai Harada's got stuff to prove in lead as well, for sure.
He looks so strong in the
so
semis.
Strong. He floated up the semis route. It is incredible to watch. He just makes everything look so much easier than other athletes.
Sean, look at that. That's, again, a bit of experience. Gets himself stood up, finds a bit of a breeze. It's quite warm in the arena. It's been cold most of the day. The air conditioning is quite effective, but it cannot battle the several thousand people who've come in tonight, who've really raised the temperature. And Sean cooling his hands and calming himself. Absolute legend of the game. He's 8 years since he won here in Kranj. He won in 2011. Still appearing in finals and, of course, qualified for the Olympic Games.
Yeah, it seems like his career's never going to end.
I don't think he's planning on ending it anytime soon.
I can't see it, no.
This is the route the climbers will be taking on. There's the hexagon the climbers will pop out to. And then it's more dual texture, as I say, and another hexagon up on the left. The outside of those volumes is low friction, the inside is high friction. There's Sean, he looks firmly like he's got the game face on. Sean McCall came out, I think, a little bit earlier than the MC was expecting. He wants to get on with this. He's been made to wait backstage for quite some time in a corridor that will be familiar to him. Multiple finals here in Kranj and a win, as I said earlier, in 2011. So he's got 6 minutes to climb. Time unlikely to be an issue. He's got that real fast, springy style, Sean. Our first chance to have a look at the lower section of this route.
Sometimes quite hard to watch Sean. It always looks like he's taking more risks than necessary, but it's his style and it's worked for however many years.
You can see he's got the left hand and that hand jam. Interestingly enough, chatting to Christian Binthammer, he said at the last minute, well, not too long before the final began, they decided to put a little screw on the right hand volume just to make the hand jam slightly better.
How nice of them.
Well, that's it.
Put a hand jam in and then
just a little screw on. I think they were slightly worried in case someone couldn't do it.
Understandably,
yeah. And we'd lose someone a bit too low down. So you might have seen Sean got the hand jam in, and there's that tiny little hidden hole that really transforms it from a true hand jam to kind of a half crimp, half hand jam. So here's the jump. Sean, the first climber, of course, to attempt it. Oh, no problem.
Easily done. He's already made a good journey up this wall. He's approaching the roof now.
Yeah, it's actually, when I just looked over my shoulder and you get a full look at the wall, you realise how high he is up it. As you say, he's absolutely motoring, pounced out to the right like a cat jumping on a mouse.
I don't think he's even rested yet.
Again, Sean putting on a fantastic show. Crowd really beginning to react to it as well. They've got no Slovenians to cheer for in this men's final, choosing to get the double clip done. Oh, and that was pretty touch and go, I think, Sean. The right hand didn't look that solid, but he committed to it. And again, he's climbing so quickly. Surely can't keep this speed up. And looks as well like he could do with getting his right hand where his left hand was. Chooses to go out with the left hand first and get the clip done. Still hasn't even been climbing for 2 minutes, Sean McCall. Absolutely rocketing up this route. It's that springy style you mentioned earlier. It's worked well for him for so many years. It's working well here tonight. Finally chooses to take a bit of a pause. Thought about clipping and decided against it. It's about to disappear from view for this camera. Luckily, we've got one a bit closer to the action. We could do with seeing it, actually. There it is. One of the unusual features of this Kranj wall is that it disappears up into the rafters. And Sean was just entering the rafters, entering the egg section, and fell seemingly quite suddenly. We'd barely adjusted to that camera angle by the time he fell. And he looks at the crowd and says, hey, come on, that was pretty impressive, wasn't it?
I think that's one of the reasons why he's had such a long career, is that he just loves competitions. You can see it every time he's either climbing or on the mats or just falling off. He's always got a smile.
Let's have another look at the jump. It was really nicely done. Right hand lands, left hand lands, and the swing looked spectacular, but I don't think there was any real danger of him falling off once that right hand looked so solid. So this is where we lost him in the roof. It's hard to tell from that angle. Let's have another look. What was he going for?
I think he might have been a lot more pumped than he looked. Because when you just motor through a route and you keep going, it's quite hard to see how tight he really is.
So Sean McCall, as we've come to expect from him, puts on a great show and sets the early high point. 30 plus for him, so it was whole 31 he was going up for.
It's okay. Representing Japan in the final,
Kokoro Fuji now getting ready to climb. Another climber who's we knew traditionally is a boulderer, but now seems to be pretty consistently making finals in the lead as well. Of course, Tomoe Narasaki of Team Japan knows he will be going to the Olympics, so the big question is who will be joining him. It's looking increasingly likely to me that it'll be one of Kokoro or Kai. Both of whom are in the final tonight, but
there's also a slim chance that Yoshiyuki Agata could make it if he wins a series of competitions within Asia.
To be honest, they could pick any of them.
Yeah, they all deserve to go, it seems.
Got such a fantastic team. Kokoro locating the half jam, I guess we could call it. As I say, it was a full-on hand jam before, but the resetters, I think quite wisely, thought, no, come on, let's stick something in there just to help it out a little bit. So Kokoro, the second of 8 climbers out this evening, hunting down the high point of 30 plus from Sean. Much different climbing style. I mean, by the time a minute had elapsed, Sean was kind of double the height of Kokoro.
Struggled a bit on that move. Maybe the hold's getting a bit sweatier as the crowd increases in the arena.
Yeah, we're sitting right by an open door at the edge of the arena here in Kranj, and even here it's warm. Imagine conditions on the wall, not great. No problem out with the jump. I went to the wall where Kokoro works and climbs in Tokyo about 6 weeks ago. No shortage of dynamic boulders to work on there, so no problems at all with the jump.
It seems like a route where resting is not necessarily beneficial. Like on the women's route you saw so much slow movement and resting throughout, but on the men's it seems like the best tactic is just to power through.
Yeah, Kokoro, as I say, definitely climbing slightly slower than Sean. It'd be tough to climb quicker than him. But still, I don't think time is going to be an issue. As you say, didn't see much opportunity or much point in stopping, really. So he's heading up towards where we lost Sean. We didn't get an ideal camera angle actually on Sean. It couldn't have really been a more awkward spot. Talking of awkward, Kokoro Fuji falls seemingly out of nowhere on a slightly awkward cross through, but it seemed to come from nowhere. Kokoro Fuji's just crossing through with the right hand. Did he miss the crimp?
Judging by the fact that he hadn't clipped either, because obviously in that position the best clipping position be on the left hand, as when you've rolled over it looks so much more awkward. So considering he hadn't clipped, maybe he was again not feeling as fresh as he appeared.
So both climbers that we've lost so far have come off, I don't want to say out of the blue, but it's happened quite quickly. There hasn't been a fight for a couple of moves and then they go.
No. It didn't look like he had a slip particularly either. Yeah, you can...
As you say, maybe just pretty pumped. Now we watch the replay, actually, the elbows were out.
Yeah, the elbows were out. He's fighting hard.
Speaking of fighting hard, oh yeah, he was tired, look at that.
Unmistakable.
Yeah, absolutely boxed. And they play, it's Alberto Hines Lopez sees the funny side of the DJ's choice of sound effect. And we talked about battles. This man knows how to battle. Fantastic climber to watch, and I have to say, an example to all climbers out there that if you just do one move, you might be able to do the next one, and you might be able to do the next one. don't let go until your body forces you to let go, basically.
That's the secret to climbing. Don't let go.
There we go. That's how to win World Cups.
Heard it here first.
Hamish available for coaching at very reasonable prices.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say though. That was it.
Okay, well, let's see you at the after party. Yeah, there's a little jib just inside it.
He seems to be slightly crimping it as well, not just resting his hand on it.
Yeah, it just gives the climbers the option, I guess. If you're comfortable on the hand jam, for sure it's easier as a hand jam.
I imagine Ondra will shake it. It's a shame it's not higher up.
So it's not the last move.
Big up the crowd on that.
Feels like a lot happened since that hand jam in Meiringen. Hard to believe it was only, 5 months ago.
It's crazy.
Alberto, a much slower cadence to his climbing.
Yeah, as usual.
He'll have to commit once he's got this clip done, he's got one more crimp, that tiny little one. And then the big jump out to the right. Oh, no problem. We talked a little bit earlier on about how it's a micro judgment for the route setters. Maybe the jumps on the women's were a little bit too risky, or the setup for them was a little bit too risky. With the feet popping for May and a couple of other climbers. It seems in the men's that the jump is not risky enough, could we say?
I think you're right. It depends if the setters were aiming to throw climbers off there or if it was just in for show, because it's not particularly high up. So I doubt it was intended for a crux of the route, per se.
Definitely gets the crowd fired up.
Definitely gets the crowd fired up.
Quite a nice bonus.
And the climbers, you always feel good after a jump. You feel re-energized sometimes.
So Alberto into the roof now. It's Sean McCall still leading the way, 30 plus. And Kokoro on 27 plus. Oh, he's got a bit of a scrap on his hands here, Alberto. I think he wants to go back to where the right hand was, actually. Or is he going to match? Oh, clever stuff from Alberto Hines Lopez. It does really well to switch both hands simultaneously and basically hug that volume. I thought he got himself in a bit of trouble there, and he got himself out of it pretty effectively. So we can see the closed crimp, the slightly blocked crimp actually, where we lost Kokoro. Alberto coming up for it now, goes for the drop knee, goes for the clip. You can see he's definitely a little tired, but he's got a little bit more, I think, than Kokoro. Chooses not to do the clip, just as we saw from Sean McCall. And again, he's about to disappear out of view from this camera. So he needs to get the clip done at some stage. Feet beginning to skit around now. Now he gets the clip done. Big cheer from the crowd. If he can stick the next move, he'll be setting a new high point. There it is from Alberto Hines Lopez. Takes the lead, he's onto the egg section of the route, slaps out right. He can't quite make it work, but he does set a new high point. Alberto Hines Lopez moves into the lead. He gave that one everything. We'd expect nothing less. And as I say, pens over just to demonstrate how much exertion went into that route. Starting to breathe really heavily. I think it's starting to catch up with him, how much energy he burned on it. Let's have another look. It's a bit lower down, bit of a fumble on the clip. This was the jump. Yeah, I think as long as it would seem, as long as the right hand is accurate, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, it's a good hold and it's not particularly blind, as I thought it might have been earlier. It seems like it's pretty easy to hit.
This is where I thought he got himself in all sorts of trouble, and then this was great, the kind of double adjustment.
Yeah, not how it's set, but it worked very well for him.
So this was his last move. He went out to the right. I think he knew it was all over. Actually, never even looked at the clip.
No. Going for a plus is always a wise decision, though, when you know you're done.
He's still panting, covered in sweat. Fantastic fight from him. So he leads the way, 31 plus for him. Martin Stranik, first of 2 Czech climbers in the final this evening. The next one will be Adam Ondra, and he is the last climber taking part this evening. I mean, you probably don't need to tell me because you can take a look at him, but he's a very powerful climber, Martin Stranik. Very strong boulderer, and as you can tell from the fact he's in the Kranj final, decent lead climber as well.
It's quite impressive in climbing how many different body types you can get. Like comparing him to Kai Harada, both at the top of the game in the final. Completely different heights, completely different builds.
It's a good point, yeah. I think it's one of the really interesting things in climbing that it doesn't seem that there is a clear best body shape.
No, it's very inclusive with however you're composed, really. It's just need to find a style that matches yours.
Yeah, it's really interesting. A lot of sports, it's become very clear what size and shape you need to be.
For sure,
it doesn't seem to have gone that way.
No, I think it's probably because you're using your body against something that's been set for you. It's not particularly, it's not against an opposition or something. It's your decision how you climb and how you express yourself through your climbing.
Oh, Martin goes out with the left hand and loses it so low down on the route. He hadn't looked especially comfortable on those dual texture volumes and looked really hacked off with himself. Maybe a bit of nerves there for Martin, hard to tell. He just, you can see him kind of look at his hands before he went out left as if to suggest he wasn't that happy.
Seems like he didn't find the right body position on that hold, maybe because of his height. Again, as discussed earlier, it could be coming back to haunt him, even though on some moves he can cruise it because of his height and power, but some moves like that require a bit more delicacy.
So disappointment for Martin Stranik, who looked like he wanted to get away from the cameras and the lights and just disappear off to the side of the wall. Not the result he was looking for at all. 12 plus for him. Stefano Gisolfi will be next out. 4 climbers down. There's a TV break for Slovenian TV. No such break for us, fear not. But an interesting start. Alberto Hines Lopez leading the way. Only 4 climbers to go. Could well be enough for a place on the podium. And as I say, Stefano Gisolfi out next, and Kai Harada, Jakob Schubert and Adam Ondra. This was Sean McColl before he came out, cooling his hands to the last possible second. And then even by the standards of Sean McColl, climbed exceptionally quickly.
Yeah, it was strange to watch with Sean. It was like he was rushing it, but he didn't make any mistakes as such.
That's a really powerful move that he was going for, that Alberto stuck. This was Kokoro.
Also had quite a bit of difficulty on that move, and again is a very tall climber compared to some others in the final.
I think he was just gassed.
Yeah,
Kokoro, now we see it again. This is Alberto. Yeah, that move there that we saw Sean fall on, that Alberto stuck. I think when we saw Sean fall, it wasn't really clear how he did the move or what Sean was going for. When we saw Alberto do it, it made a bit more sense.
Yeah, your foot's just on a feature of the wall by the looks of things, so it's quite hard to trust that when it's something you're not used to at all. Like most walls are completely smooth, and there's just more to think about on the wall in Kranj. It's something that you don't really appreciate when you're just climbing on a flat wall, is that you don't always have to be on the lookout for a better foothold than the one you're using just in the texture of the wall.
And you can see it's quite akin to outdoor rock climbing, and a man that's done a fair bit of that, Alberto Hines Lopez, is currently leading the way ahead of Sean McColl and Kokoro Fuji.
The next climbers out also are very strong on the rock, so it'll be interesting to see if that plays to their cards as well.
Stefano Ghisolfi now is out at the wall. Everybody climbing from here on out is either a World Cup winner, a world champion, or both. To give you some idea of the caliber of climber we are talking about. Stefano Ghisolfi's never won a World Championship or the season title. He was second in 2017 in the season rankings in the World Cups, and same again in 2018. 5 times a World Cup winner, including here in Kranj last year in 2018. He's underway, looked in really good lead shape once again in the semi-final. Hadn't looked himself at all up until this weekend in the lead season.
Yeah, it's not his usual dominance, but there's still this competition to be done with.
Yeah, and 2 more World Cups as well. 3 weeks from now we'll be on the South China Sea in the city of Xiamen. And then we're off to Inzai, back to Japan for the final lead World Cup of the season. And then at the end of November as well, we've got the Olympic selection event in Toulouse. So a lot more action to come this season for the IFSC. First things first, so gold medal to be handed out at Kranj. Already had one handed out to Chernsa. Stefano Ghisolfi also doesn't really like the top of this volume. You can see the recesses, put some blocker holes on the top just to close off the very best section of the volume.
Is he crimping a screw hole?
It's kind of crimping, yeah.
Or something there.
I think there's a tiny hole created by a little dimple in the wall.
The top of this volume is just getting chalkier and sweatier as more climbers come out. It's a very friction dependent hold.
And Stefano, I'm guessing, realises Martin fell early. If he didn't see it through the doorway, then he'll at least have realised from how little time Martin was on the wall. It does not look comfortable at all here, Stefano Ghisolfi. He's choosing to use that tiny little dimple. Here he goes out to the left. He's got himself through it.
That was extreme improvisation there.
It was, yeah.
There's no chance he read that from the start. He's just thinking on the spot. It's quite important on a wall like this.
Yeah, it's a really good point you make. There are so many things to look at. Let's just keep an eye on Stefano, no problem on the jump. So many things to look at on a more modern lead wall. You've just got the footholds that the route setters are giving you, whereas here, as you rightly say, you've got all sorts of little dimples and features that might be used, might not be used.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what the route setters want you to do sometimes, and there's not clearly marked footholds. And sometimes handholds, like the arete, there's a slight overlap between the front panel and the back panel. So last year in Kranj, I know there was a clip set just from crimping the overlap in the arete, and it was used again this year.
Mr. Olympic Fox, he's getting as much airtime as anyone. Stefano now, less than 3 minutes remaining. Burned a lot of time low down and also a lot of energy. It's a really awkward position when you've got your hands kind of in front of your face sloping down. It engages more muscles than you realise, kind of your triceps, shoulders, your back, all gets used holding that position for sure. And he was there quite a long time.
He managed to sling a heel up though to take some weight off his arms. It's always useful. Again, just searching for the right feature on the wall to use there.
Doing a lot of moving around here, Stefano. I was about to say he's left that clip behind. He's done this before, hasn't he? Gets the clip swinging and then it just swings back to where he wants it. A lot of movements here from Stefano's kind of going back and forth, swapping the feet around, swapping the hands around. Not actually gone that far, having burned quite a lot of energy in the last few meters. Now bumps out to the next hexagon. We saw Alberto Hines Lopez hugging that volume. Stefano chooses to slap up with the left hand and he never looked that convinced by the move. And he is not going to retain his title from Kranj. That's going to put him into 4th place right now, Stefano. Yeah, this was, it was, okay, a couple of moves up where he really stalled out. All was going well.
Yeah, he looked completely in control up until this point, but then maybe he just threw his confidence a bit for the top section.
This was a jump, didn't seem to trouble him at all.
As soon as you've wasted energy or feel like you've wasted energy on a section, for the rest of the route you're constantly doubting whether you're in the best shape to continue, or thinking people who've done it easier down below are going to be better up top. So it's quite hard mentally to recover from something, even if it's not physically caused you too much stress.
There is Stefano, not the performance he was looking for. As I say, he'll be in at 4th place for now, so no podium for him. He's Kai Harada, never won a World Cup, but he has won a World Championship, which I suspect provides some consolation. Kai Harada now out onto the stage of Japan, the 2018 Boulder World Champion. In a battle royale, you suspect, with Kokoro Fuji for the 2nd Olympic slot on Team Japan. Big performance here would really help his cause. That was interesting what you said about Stefano. Do you find that when you're climbing, your internal voice is still going?
Yeah, well, it depends on the route and depends on the style of route. Mostly, like if it's a extremely powerful route, it's quite hard to stop and think, but on a route that allows you time to rest, like on that jump, when he's hanging there, he's definitely going to be thinking, I need to do something special to make up for my not be able to do the lower section easily. So try and climb differently, try and do something different to usual.
Harada rocketing the lower section. He's onto this sloping hold, which didn't seem to be causing any problems. And then for the last couple of climbers, Martin Strahanek and Stefano Gasolfi has caused all sorts of problems. Kai, I think, probably quite sensibly, didn't think about it too much, and just thought, I can do this move, let's just do it.
And the longer you hang around, the worse conditions the hold gets and the sweatier your hands get. Oh, wow.
How's that for confidence? He's such a confident climber, Kai Harada. I sometimes worry it might actually cost him.
Yeah, I often feel the same with him and Tomoa, and it kind of hasn't cost Tomoa before.
I mean, you look at a guy like Sean McCall, he's done 150 World Cups or whatever it is. He still engages the left hand, just
That's
because
true.
why not? And you think with Kai, it's great for the show, but surely you make every move as certain as you can. Anyway, this is style and it's good to watch. I hope it doesn't cost him one day. Oh, the feet cut loose unexpectedly there. Luckily the right hand was pretty solid, and a bit like Alberto Hines Lopez, he was almost hugging that volume. So we saw Stefano get set up and then go with the left hand here. I thought Kai was about to go, he does. He uses the same method as Stefano and makes it work. So he'll move ahead of Kokoro Fuji onto the provisional podium if he can at least attempt the next move. He'll move ahead on countback. He's looking a lot fresher than Kokoro did. That's the move, so that's him into 3rd place.
Chooses to clip now, which seems a lot smarter.
So this is where we lost Sean McCall. It's a mega powerful move, this. You can basically slap the side of that volume and then your biceps take a pounding trying to hold on to it. can't really see where Kai Harada's off to next. It's 3D climbing.
Hugging an egg by the looks of things. It's not something you usually say in sport.
So this is matching or perhaps the high point of Alberto Hines Lopez. Alberto Hines Lopez was given 31.5 plus. What will Kai be given? I think it will be the same, but we'll let the judges do their work before we speculate too much. He would move ahead on countback. Always puts on a show, Kai. Very first move there. Still waiting for his score to come through.
It looks like he intends to go with the left hand, but then decides I can hold this.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. So this was on the air. It's good to see a bit of a closer up view. I knew he wasn't going to make that, and you could see him just go through as if to say to the judges, there's your plus. 32 plus for Kai Harada, so he has the lead.
He has the lead, and not just on countback, which is good.
Jakob Schubert, where do we start listing his achievements? If he could win another World Cup, he will be out on his own as having the most World Cup wins of any man in history. He's two-time the lead world champion, a combined world champion, an absolute legend of the game. Been climbing here in Kranj since the very beginning of his career.
Choosing a slightly different starting position to most competitors there, but still no problems. Also climbing relatively fast compared to usual for Jakob. A stereotypical strong and static climber, but seems to be powering up to this point.
Yeah, Jakob, I think would be advised to do what Kai Harada did and just think, this hole's not going to get any better if I hang around, let's just get moving.
He was somehow crimping the end of that as well. It's a completely open-handed hole. I'm not too sure how he did that.
Oh, we lose Jakob low down as well. Well, suddenly that hold, which for the first half of the final didn't seem to be bothering anyone, is now really causing problems. Oh, that is not the result Jakob wanted. Let's have another look. Tries to readjust. I think he knew he'd got himself in a bit of trouble. Yeah, I don't think he trusted the left hand enough to bring the right back.
Not at all, no. Seems like a direct correlation between climbing early and having no trouble with that move. Must be something condition dependent.
Look at that, what a shot that is behind the scenes as we see Ondra. Here's Adam Ondra getting ready to climb. What an opportunity he has here. 32 the score to beat. So it all comes down to the final climber. The route has not been topped, to be honest. No one's been near the top.
And I'm sure he's aware there's been trouble low down. The holding zone is basically a couple meters away from this route, so it'd be obvious to work out there's been trouble.
Alberto Hines Lopez, by the way, is now guaranteed a place on the podium, as is Kai Harada. Massive result for both of them.
Yeah, first podium for Alberto, I believe.
So all eyes on Adam Ondra coming out last. In order to make it to the Olympic selection event in Toulouse, and I have to say, Adam made that move look so easy. I forgot it was the move that spat two climbers
It looked
off.
like a different hold when he was on it.
Yeah, it really did. In order to make it to the Olympic selection event in Toulouse, Adam needs to participate in the Shearman Speed World Cup, which is 3 weeks' time. I was chatting to him earlier, said, are you doing the lead? Oh, no. And he said he's not doing the lead in the Shearman. I'm trying to convince him. I have to say, if he wins here, he'll be in such a strong position in the overall rankings. It would seem a shame not to do the rest of the season. Anyway, first things first, we've got a win in Kranj to be claimed by someone. As it is, it'd be Kai Harada who's going to claim it. But as I say, Adam will be coming to Shearman just to log a score in the Speed World Cup.
It's a long way to go for 2 speed routes.
Yes, I agree. But
definitely worth it.
Got to have placings in two World Cups in all 3 disciplines, and as it stands, Adam only has 1 speed ranking, so got to come to Shearman to get a second one so he can qualify for Toulouse. Adam, I have to say, looking pretty powerful up until now. No issues on the time, more than 3.5 minutes remaining, but this is so physical, this section. A lot of strain going through the biceps, holding on to that thing.
Similarly to Alberto with the hugging technique.
Oh, he's not that tired, is he? Got the most amazing ability to switch into competition mode and then suddenly turn around and ask the crowd for a bit and then carry on. Adam goes up with the right hand, different method to what we saw from Stefano and Kai. So if Adam can at least attempt the move up to the first egg, then he'll be onto the podium on countback.
We all want to see a top though.
We'd love to see a top. Adam again, says the crowd, come on. I talked to him after the semi-final, he said he felt really good, and that seems to be the case, judging by his performance on the lead route. Crowd clapping along to the music, atmosphere amazing here in Kranj. And here goes Adam, the feet cut loose for a minute, that's him on the podium. But he wants more, he wants a gold medal. Here he goes out right, Adam Ondra just needs to attempt the next move. Goes out with the feet first. Matches on the second egg, now going out to the third. That is the win for Adam Ondra right there. From here on out, he's just underlining his dominance. How many moves can he do? Can he find the top? The crowd are going absolutely crazy here. He's got plenty of time left. More than 2 minutes on the clock for Adam Ondra. This is 3D climbing. There he is, now making his way towards our camera. I think he knows he's won this competition. He's such a wily competitor, but he'd love He'd love a top, and the crowd would love to see one as well. You can see the top hole beckoning. Adam fighting his way into the rafters here in Kranj. Even having time to shake out, no doubt, who the best climber's been here this evening in Slovenia. Could he underline his dominance with the top of the final route? He's so close. He's into the rafters in Kranj. Again, choosing to pause. You can tell he knows he's won the competition, but he wants to top so badly. He's choosing to rest before the very last move. Here he goes, Adam Ondra. Finds the top hold. Gets the top quick draw clipped. He is the champion of Kranj, and look what it means. Lead world champion, now the winner in Kranj. What a performance from the greatest climber on the planet. Tomo Chezan helps him to the ground. He has absolutely smashed the competition here. He was first in the qualifiers, first in the semi-finals, and first in the final. Adam Ondra, take a bow. Crowd loved that. They didn't see a top in the women's competition. They saw one in the men's, and it was Adam Ondra who claimed it. He was on a different planet tonight.
It was so impressive to watch. I think the fellow competitors were also watching in admiration.
I mean, what can you say? That I think in the women's competition, the climber in first and the climber in fourth, more or less had the same score. Absolutely no doubt.
No doubt.
Who won here?
Perfect setting, and it's always good to be able to rely on Adam Ondra to get that top.
Amazing stuff, and shout out to the route setters. A couple of mini calculations they made on the women's route didn't quite work out, but on the men's, we only had one tie, and that was on that move low down, which I don't think anyone expected. Everyone else clearly separated. This was when Adam secured his place on the podium.
So impressive to watch his composure as well, in a position where he knows he's approaching guaranteed gold medal, but he still chooses to shake out and take his time.
It meant a lot, that one, to Adam, you can tell.
After disappointment in the World Championships, I think it was really good for him to come back and show he's dominant.
I think it's amazing, really. It feels like everyone, myself included, has forgotten. Adam actually won the Lead World Championship, but really it's not what he wanted to have GOG4. He went there to book his tickets to the Olympics, and he didn't manage it. We'll have the top three climbers introduced to the crowd, but there is confirmation of the result. It was pretty tight between second and fourth, but they were clearly separated. It was Alberto Hines Lopez who was third, Kai Harada in second, and Adam Ondra dominating the competition to take first. Again, choreography. I've said it every time, it's like herding cats. Getting the climbers to go where you want them to go, but Adam finds his place into the middle of the podium. There is the top three. We're going to have a live interview with Adam Ondra. Eddie will be taking care of that in just a second. The light is on, the interview backdrop looks ready. As you can see, they're still waiting for Adam, who's enjoying every moment of being out in front of the Kranj crowd, who are just beginning to disperse into the night. Adam now make his way over to the interview backdrop, so it can't be long until we hear from him. Hamish, it's a pleasure to watch a climber of that calibre.
Yeah, it's so amazing to see firsthand as well. Like, it's always great to hear stories and watch videos, but in person as well, it's just completely different.
I believe Adam is just about ready for the interview as well, so we will keep quiet and we'll hear what Adam Ondra's got to say.
Adam Ondra, 4 times here in Slovenia you have taken the top step of a podium, but there's something a little bit different about this victory. Tell us what it is.
I mean, there was a slight disappointment after the World Championships in Tokyo where I didn't qualify for the Olympics. I was actually wondering if I should take part of this event or maybe just get focused in training for the next nomination comp, but in the end I just liked this event way too much and I wanted to just go here and enjoy, and I climbed without any pressure and it paid off. It felt great and the audience was probably the best that I've ever remembered, and it's the first time that I'm topping out the final route, which is the experience.
That's amazing. Just watching the look on your face, you're such an acclaimed outdoor climber as well. How do you feel the difference in buzz between being in front of this many people to being out in Flatanger or out in the middle of, let's face it, nowhere?
I like both. I like being outdoors, I like being in the wild just with a couple of friends, but when I'm on the competitions, the more people and the louder they are, the better I feel.
Awesome. Well, congratulations again.
And so concludes yet another fantastic edition of the Kranj World Cup. Hamish, thank you very much for your company.
No worries. Anytime.
And thank you guys for watching at home, and we will see you as Hamish disappears. We will see you in 3 weeks' time in Sheerman. Look forward to seeing you then.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the medals will be presented by Mr. Marcos Solaris, President of International Federation of Sport Climbing. Predsjednik međunarodne plezalne zvijezde, gospodin Marcos Solaris, podelivao medalje, gospodin Jože Roman. Predsjednik Planinske zvijezde Slovenije, podelivao priznanja izgleda gospodin Janez Kranj, medaljevalci vodijo prave prve srednje zorovanice D. Tretje mesto za slovensko predstavnico Lučka Lakovec na 3. mesto. Solaris, predsednik mednarodne zveze z medaljo tretji uvrščeni slovenski predstavnici prvi na stopničkah za zmagovalke Lučka Rakovič na tretjem mestu. Na drugem mestu second place for Jessica Pilz for Austria. In zmagovalka svetovnega pokala v državnosti zvezde v Kranju, first place, the great champion from Cambodia, first, Seo Chai-Hyun, representing Korea! Champion predstavlja gospod Somali z medaljo za najboljše. Tudi gospod Janez Kranj, vodja uprave prve osebne zavarovalnice DD, tudi generalnega sponzorja slovenske reprezentance v športnem plezanju. So podelili izvedel gospod Rožer Roman, predsednik Slovenske zveze Slovenije, also presented the awards of our president of Alpine Association of Slovenia. Dear ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the national anthem of Korea. Najboljši tri, tudi z visokimi podeljevalci, ki so seveda podelili priznanje in nagrade. Hvala lepa tudi našim podeljevalcem. Thank you, ladies, Seo, Jessica in Lučka! Nadaljujemo z razglasitvijo v moškem delu tekmovanja. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll start with awards and presenting ceremony in men's competition. Začenjamo s tretjim mestom. In first place, representing Spain, Alberto López López. Medalje bodo podeljevali gospod Solaris, Marko Solaris, predsednik plezalne zveze, so the medals will be presented by Mr. Marko Solaris, president of International Federation of Climbing, pa gospod Matjaž Rakovec, župan mestne občine Kranj, and our mayor of the municipality Kranj, Matjaž Rakovec, and father of Lučka Rakovec will present the awards in seveda gospod Praškenko, generalni sekretar Olimpijskega komiteja Slovenije, Združenja športnih zvez, and of course our Mr. Ondra General Secretary from Slovenian Olympic Committee. Drugo mesto na drugem mestu second Kai Hanada, Japan. Gospod Skolari, skupin trenutkov tudi srebrno medaljo. Pa župan, gospod Matjaž Rakovec in tudi generalni sekretar OKS-a, Združenja športnih zvez, gospod Blaž Perko, za drugovrščenega. Še šparovalca bomo priklicali na prvem mestu in first place representing Czech Republic, Ondra, Česká republika. In fourth World Cup competition this season. Spoštovane in spoštovani, prosimo ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the national anthem of Czech Republic. Now for the opportunity in the first set with three world champion Alberto Jimenez. Tudi z našimi podeljevalci. Hvala lepa, gospod Matjažu Rakovcu, gospodu Blažu Perku. Thank you, Mr. President Marko Solaris. We wish you to be with us next year here in World Cup competition. Hvala lepa, seveda, vsem, ki ste prišli v Kranj in tako